This morning it was my pleasure to host Maryland's delegation to the United States Congress for an honest, open, and bipartisan conversation about our administration's federal priorities. This morning's session also gave all of the members a chance to ask candid questions about the work that we're doing here in state government on issues ranging from economic development to the heroin epidemic. Our entire cabinet was present, and I hope that I speak for everyone up here in saying that it was a very productive and informative meeting. I'd like to thank every member of the delegation for being here and for our entire team. The state has made 129 recommendations to the delegation. We were able to discuss the most important priorities, and the ground we covered today I think was important. Our administration intends to work very closely with our representatives in Congress to ensure that we're moving forward together in the best interest of the state and all of our citizens. Since taking office 2 months ago, I've regularly met with our representatives in Congress and with our state legislators, both individually and in groups. And that's a practice I intend to keep up. It's how we plan to get things done in a nonpartisan fashion. We want to demonstrate how at every level of government we are fully committed to the F.B.I. Press conference, to the F.B.I. coming to Maryland. As many of you know, it's the primary focus of my administration is economic development, and any objective analysis of what Maryland has to offer in terms of cost, security, convenience and location, and transportation options makes Maryland the obvious choice for the new F.B.I. headquarters. Our two sites are located near the Washington Metro Rail system, the MARC commuter train, the Capitol Beltway, and Maryland is already home to the largest number of F.B.I. employees in the region. Nearby, Fort Meade is home to U.S. Cyber Command, the National Security Agency. Close to the proposed Maryland sites is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, the Department of Defense's Cyber Crime Center, and Joint Base Andrews. Given the proximity of these other agencies, Maryland is the most intelligent choice. So today, our intention is to make it clear that we were all completely united and dedicated to making this project happen for the state of Maryland. We have all committed to work together and to do everything we possibly can to ensure that Maryland is the ultimate choice for the F.B.I. headquarters relocation. I'd like to now turn the podium over to Senator Mikulski, who will say a few words, followed by other members of the delegation, and also County Executive Rashawn Baker, who is here with us today, and then we'll be happy to take some questions after all the remarks have concluded. Thank you.
This is a pretty Tony help. Thanks. Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much, Congressman Cummings, for giving me a leg to stand up on. Obviously, this podium has been a longitudinal challenge for me. We are so pleased to be able to join the governor, the lieutenant governor, and his cabinet for a real dialogue on how we can keep moving Maryland forward. We want to thank the governor for hosting this meeting and for what we regard as a conversation that was based on civility and finding common cause. And finding common cause in terms of focusing on jobs and opportunity. One of the things we absolutely agree on is we want more jobs in Maryland and we want more opportunity for the people who live in Maryland. And as a big part of that is how do we leverage federal assets to create jobs. Yes, we want to leverage federal assets to create private sector jobs, particularly in new opportunities like biotech and cybersecurity, and also in traditional jobs like in agriculture and in construction. One of the things in leveraging federal assets is you have to have them. Sure, we're going to work to make sure FDA is robust so we can attract more jobs, FDA, NIH, a corridor of life sciences. But we're also looking at a national security corridor, that would go from the National Security Agency into a new FBI headquarters. We've talked about what our strategy is, what our game plan is, and the fact that we offer our greatest assets. First of all, the FBI needs to move. It is in downtown Washington. It's too small. It doesn't meet the needs of a modern a modern FBI. We have worked as Team Maryland to say the FBI not only needs to move, but the whole FBI needs to move. We're not talking about a little bit of the FBI. We're talking about the entire FBI. And we want our Federal Bureau of Investigation to be a 21st century one. And that's what we offer here. We have the best site. We would bring 11,000 federal jobs right here. And we already know that 43% of the Hoover building already live in Maryland. 43% do. So this would mean we already are saying to those that will be decision makers is we have a site that could accommodate the entire FBI. We have 2 sites. We have the infrastructure to do it. We have the political will to do it. And we know that America will be safer and stronger when the FBI gets what it needs to do its job. And we in Maryland want it, and we want it in Prince George's County, which has often been overlooked and undervalued when it came to locating new federal assets. So we've talked about a lot today, and I know my colleagues will elaborate. But we are Team Maryland here in jobs and opportunity, the congressional delegation working with the governor to be able to do that. So.
Thank you, Senator. I don't think you're going to need
Thank you,
one.
Governor. Let me thank Governor Hogan on behalf of our entire congressional delegation. It is high-priced help here. Let me. I think every member of our delegation would tell you that the discussions we had today were extremely helpful. We heard from the governor the state priorities, which are our priorities, and we're working together as Team Maryland. And it was a very encouraging discussion. But as I told Governor Hogan, it didn't start today. His cabinet has been out meeting with us, working with us, giving us the information we need so that we can continue to represent the best interests of Maryland, getting those jobs here in our state and moving forward on priorities that are important. So, Governor Hogan, thank you for the manner in which we were able to meet with you and plan a common strategy for the people of Maryland. And we talked about a lot of issues, from the need for predictable long-term partnerships with the federal government on transportation funding, to how we can help in the housing needs, to dealing with health issues such as heroin addictions and a lot of other issues, our military. We had, I thought, a very healthy discussion on the priorities, and particularly the top priorities. But I just want to underscore the importance of the FBI decision and Governor Hogan's leadership and our whole Team Maryland's leadership in making sure that the FBI location is in Prince George's County, Maryland. Mel Franklin is also here, the head of the council. We've had a real team effort in this regard. But Senator Mikulski said it best. When we, in the Environmental Public Works Committee, this committee I serve on, took up the lease prospectus or the building prospectus for the FBI, we made it clear that we wanted a full consolidation of the FBI. That's because of the critical mission it plays to keep us safe. We needed all of the energy together to be able to produce the most efficient and effective FBI for our country. And when you look at the 3 locations that are now being considered, there's only 2 that can satisfy the mission of the FBI, and they're both located in Prince George's County, Maryland. That's first and foremost. This is where they can get the full consolidation. And as Senator Mikulski said, it's where the workforce currently is. It's where the major institutions are located. It's one of the transit issues. All that is satisfied in the 2 Prince George's County sites. And that's why, from Governor Hogan at the state level to Rashawn Baker at the county level to our federal delegation, we are united in the efforts to have the FBI located in Prince George's County, Maryland. I'd like just to add one additional point. Our state has provided the wherewithal to make sure these sites will be appropriate. Our county has done that. We've come forward with all of the needs to satisfy these sites being available for the FBI. And I really do applaud the leadership of our state and our county for taking that proactive position. And the bottom line is this is in the best interest of the taxpayers of our country and certainly in the security of America. And that's why we are united as a delegation for the FBI being located in Prince George's County, Maryland. With that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Congressman Hoyer.
Thank you very much, Governor Hogan, Senator Mikulski, Senator Cardin, my colleagues in the delegation, and our esteemed county executive from Prince George's County, Rashawn Baker. I won't repeat everything that's been said. I do want to thank Governor Hogan for the first 60 days have been a very engaged 60 days in which all of those who can impact on issues on behalf of our citizens, who are all of our constituents. They're not the governor's or my constituents, the senator. They're Maryland constituents, and we all serve them. And the governor has engaged the congressional delegation in a very positive way, and we're appreciative of that, and we look forward to that continuing. Without going into all the issues we discussed today, which were a much broader scale, in part we're here to reiterate what we did some months ago at the University of Maryland. Some of you may have been at that press conference in which we had a broad array of Maryland's citizens, leadership, business community, speaking about how critically important it was for us to put forward a united application for and competition for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Some almost 12,000 employees. As the senators have indicated, a full consolidation is our objective because the synergy of that consolidation makes them more efficient. And we can't think of a site, perhaps in America, where the business and the work and the responsibilities of the FBI would find any more complement to the assets that we have in this state, from the NSA to the cybersecurity to Andrews Air Force Base, University of Maryland, Metro Transportation, all of the assets that would be and are essential. So we are confident that we're going to be successful. And the purpose, really, of this press conference is to indicate we had an election. And the election changed the political leadership in our state from Democratic to Republican. But it didn't change a single bit the unity of purpose that we have together. And, Governor, we thank you for that, and we're going to be successful because of that, and we look forward to working together. And now let me turn it over to my friend Elijah Cummings.
Stanley, you're right. The election is over. And the people of Maryland don't just want us to move to common ground. They do want us to move to higher ground. And I do believe that the governor fully understands that. We have so many problems to address, so much to do, and so little time to do it in. And somebody once said that if you want to go far, if you want to go fast, you go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you go with others. And, Governor, I want to thank you for making it clear that we will all go together and that we will all move to higher ground. One of the things that I emphasized, and all of us have emphasized, is the purple line and the red line. These transportation projects are so important to all of us. When you're talking about our economy, you're talking about jobs, the ability of people to move from one place to another, to be liberated so that they can move around and get to church and do the things that they need to do. It's so important, and I know the governor understands our feelings about that, and I'm hoping, Secretary, that you will keep that forefront in your mind. The FBI building is another one that we are very concerned about. Again, we realize that there are many opportunities that come. The question is will we grab them and bring them to our state? And we realize, again, if we want to go far, we have to do it together, and that's exactly what we are doing. Finally, we asked the governor to do something else. And I think this was echoed by everybody. We want the governor to remind those in Washington that how we come together and work together to address things like sequestration and things that would allow him to be able to do his job better. And by the way, governors all over the country. And so we realize this is bigger than us, but our governor, being a new governor, can come in with a fresh voice and perhaps be a part of that leadership that says to some of our folks in Washington that we have to move from where we are so we can get to that higher ground. And so, Mr. Governor, I thank you so much for this, and we pledge that we're all going to be doing what we've always done, that is working together for the good of our entire state. And with that, it's my honor and my privilege to welcome Representative Chris Van Hollen.
Elijah, and I just want to add my words of gratitude to the governor and the lieutenant governor for bringing us together for a very productive conversation here in Annapolis. To our captain on Capitol Hill, Senator Mikulski, who leads the effort, Senator Cardin, and all of Team Maryland, including our great county executive, Rashern Baker, and Council President Mel Franklin, and all the county executives and county councils pulling together for the good of the state. We are here today to say as one state, we're focused like a laser beam on bringing the FBI to Prince George's County. Prince George's County has the assets, and the mission of the FBI will be really well served if it has its home in Prince George's County. Like we're all together and trying to make sure we have a Port of Baltimore that prospers, and I do have to underscore the words of my friend and colleague, Mr. Cummings, with respect to transportation needs, both the red line, but also the purple line, and I appreciate the governor giving that as consideration. The dollars there at the federal level, and I hope we'll be able to access for the good of transportation and economic development here in the state of Maryland. Finally, we're all going to leave here. We're going to be taking part in a debate on the budget in the House of Representatives of the United States Senate this week. And a lot of the priorities that the governor outlined for us today are at stake in that budget debate. So I hope as one Maryland, we make sure we have a budget that is fiscally responsible and accommodates the investments that the governor laid out that are so important to our state. And we look forward to that debate going forward. And with that, I want to turn over the podium to my friend and colleague, Donna Edwards.
Thank you very much. And I think that you'll hear a recurring theme, and that is echoing a theme that is thankful to our governor and to our lieutenant governor and all of his team for us being able to be together today, led by Senator Mikulski and Senator Cardin and our delegation, so that we could have a conversation about Maryland's priorities. And you've heard some of those, whether it's transportation and housing and issues related to our low-income citizens, those who are aspiring to our middle class. And so it's been a great conversation that we've had on behalf of all Marylanders. And so that brings me to the FBI. And I think that there are some out there who mistakenly might have thought that because we had a transition in government, that would mean that we would fall apart in terms of our unity behind the FBI. Well, I've come here with the message, along with all of our team, that they could not be more wrong, that all of us remain united in the idea and the goal of bringing the FBI and its 11,500 employees and workers, many of them, as you've heard from Senator Mikulski, who live in Maryland, to Maryland, and most particularly to my home county in Prince George's County. And I know that with the dedicated leadership of our governor and his team, our senators and their team, and all of our delegation, from Andy Harris to the Western Mountains, with John Delaney, Chris Van Hollen, that all of us are working on the same page, as you've heard, to make sure that the FBI comes to Maryland. And then lastly, I would like to just say that we could not have had better leadership on Team Maryland in this endeavor than we've had with our county executive, Rashern Baker, and our entire leadership team from Prince George's County. Because we know that in order to grow all of Maryland, that we have to grow parts of Maryland where there is opportunity, and there is opportunity that abounds in Prince George's County. And so I just want to thank the governor and lieutenant governor for having us here, and the stalwart leadership that we have had from our delegation and from our surrounding county executives who've also joined with us in saying that we want to bring the FBI to Maryland. And with that, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce my county executive, Rashern Baker.
Thank you, Donna. I have the pleasure of having Congresswoman Edwards as my Congresswoman. We're very proud of the work that she is doing on Capitol Hill, as we are of our complete federal delegation. There's nothing you can say about Senator Mikulski. She is absolutely the best, and leading us, and Senator Cardin, and the entire delegation. I'm sure the governor has found, and the lieutenant governor has found what we have found, at least in my last 4 years as county executive, what a tremendous and powerful federal delegation we have. And so I know they had a robust meeting and covered a lot of issues. They had one little issue that happened to be of importance to me. I don't know, 3 letters, F.B.I. But I do want to thank the governor for immediately, upon being elected and sworn in, saying to us he supports the FBI. He gathered us all in this room and talked about, the things that need to be done in order to bring the FBI to Maryland and to Prince George's County. So we were so happy to see that, not only in words but in deeds. We're thrilled with the lieutenant governor and his efforts to help us out. As can be seen by our support in our delegation, glad to see our House of Delegates are represented, Delegate Knotts and Delegate Jackson, and our chair of our council, Mel Franklin. We're all in for the FBI. My closing words are, Maryland has the 2 best sites. We have a team that's together. We have taken the work, as Congresswoman Edwards said, about preparing those sites, going ahead with permitting to make sure whatever site is chosen in Maryland, they can get through quickly. The governor is on board, committing the resources to bring it to Maryland. We now feel really good about where we're going and our ability to bring it home, and I want to thank the governor for calling us all together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Well, that concludes our presentation. At this point, I just want to wrap up the discussion by saying I could not be more pleased at the cooperation that we found among our local, federal, and state partners. You can tell we're all united on this. We've said that multiple times. Everybody is focused on this project like a laser beam. It's a tremendous opportunity, and we're going to all make sure it happens. So with that, we'll be happy to turn the floor over to any questions that you have of any of us. We covered all your issues?
In terms of making that sell, are you getting any feel for where the FBI is on, Prince George's does look perfect?
Maybe that's something we'll let the senator address. She's usually got all the good answers. Will you get your podium back?
I think we all stand. This is not a feel or a feel good. This is where what is the best opportunity for the FBI to have the best site so they can do the best job to defend America. The GSA, the General Service Administration, has a checklist that they're going through. They're looking at the environmental study. They're looking at transportation infrastructure. They're looking at the human infrastructure in terms of where people can be educated and trained to be able to work at the FBI, from everything from cybersecurity specialists to forensic accounting. And there's nothing like Maryland. So the assets that we bring in terms of great land in 2 sites, great physical infrastructure that we can put into place, and the human infrastructure that we can make available, and educational opportunities so that our agents and our support teams are the best educated. The FBI, the General Service Administration, in concert with the FBI, is going through those checklists. And as you can see, we know the criteria that they're going to use. It's a publicized one. And we are showing them that the very criteria they want to make sure the FBI can do its mission, and it is right here in Maryland. And if they don't believe it, there are 15, 20, 30,000 people who are ready to tell them that.
Any other questions?
Senator, I didn't want you to step down just yet because I did have a question. Could you talk to us a little bit about the political challenges of this, Republican leadership in the House and Senate, and of course Virginia in competition? How would you characterize the political challenges in making this happen?
Well, there are sites, 2 sites in Maryland, 1 site in Virginia. The political challenge is that we're both very aggressive delegations, but I will tell you that what we need to show is political support. The political support is, we're not a zoning commission here. Okay, the political support shows that we have the committees and the clout, that once the decision is made, to see the sustainability and viability through all of the funding process that will unfold. In other words, once they approve it, is there going to be a there to make it happen in terms of this? We have such clout here that it's quite important. And then the second is that we have the political support not only of the federal delegation, but of the state in its executive branch through the governor, and through its local branch through its county executive and its county council president. So we're showing that we've got the politics, we've got the muscle, and now we want to get the decision because we will help produce the money.
Finally, could you characterize for us how the Purple Line might interface with all sorts of development, not just FBI development, and the importance of perhaps linking these issues or keeping these issues separate?
Well, the Purple Line is a very important transportation goal. I'm going to turn on Steny or Ben if they want to answer questions about the Purple Line.
The FBI proposal for Maryland, one of the strengths is its location to transit and the convenience not only for the workforce but for those who interact with the FBI. That's there. We have the locations that have the transit accessibility, so that's not an issue and is not dependent upon the Purple Line progress. Purple Line is a separate issue in which the federal government has spoken, and that is they're prepared to enter into a full funding agreement. So the funds are available for the federal portion to start construction as early as in this budget year. So that decision has already been made. And it's not, the two are not dependent. We already have the transit locations convenience as requested by the prospectus has already been, we think, satisfied by the Maryland proposals.
Questions?
What's next in the process? I mean, when are you going to start having a better feel for where things are going, and when will a decision ultimately be made?
Maybe Congressman Hoyer want to talk about that? I think it's the end of April is when we're looking at the next decision.
Sure, and you want to go through that in terms of the counties? Well, in any event, there are a number of studies that have to go through. We've been through the initial. That's how we got down to these 3 sites. There are a number of contractors who are looking at also making some proposals. We expect by this late spring we'll have some further movement from GSA, and then we are hopeful that by early next year this will be resolved and that we'll be moving forward, and we're very confident. I might want to say to the previous question, obviously the Purple Line will have substantial positive economic impact, we believe. But I think Senator Cardin's absolutely right. The 2 projects are not dependent upon one another or commingled.
Any other questions?
Final GSA decision is spring 2016.
Is there a price tag in terms of what infrastructure and other kinds of financial commitments the state, county,
There is, and I think we're still doing some of the studies on both of the sites, but we have some preliminary estimates. Maybe Secretary Rom can touch on where we are with some of the numbers. It's pretty substantial.
The numbers for the
Secretary Rom, I think.
I'm sorry. Pete Ron, Secretary of the Maryland Department of Transportation. The engineering estimates that we have right now for the F.B.I. Center at Greenbelt would need a total investment of the state and local of somewhere between $190 and $210 million. We do not yet have an estimate of the cost for the Landover site. We need additional information from GSA in order to make that calculation. If, from the DOT's perspective, if the transportation is what is dependent upon the FBI to locate here, we will find the money.
From the county's perspective, yes.
Okay.
Governor, it sounded as though the delegation members were hoping that you might be able to be of some help to them dealing with the Republican Congress. Are you prepared to do that?
Well, it sounded like that. I'm not sure how much clout I have over the Republicans in Congress. Quite frankly, I said earlier in the discussion that, I share the frustration of most people in Maryland that things aren't always getting done in Washington. That I think people in general are frustrated at Republicans and Democrats, and they wish that we could actually get some decisions made and arrive at solutions. We'll certainly be trying to do everything we can to work with our delegation to try to push both houses of Congress to move in the right direction. It's going to help all of our citizens. But, I'm not a guy who's been in Congress, and I had more Democratic votes than Republican votes, so I'm not sure I can really make them do what I want them to do. But we're going to get involved in the lobbying effort, I can tell you that.
Let me make just a brief comment. I think, speaking from the House side, and Donna Edwards has been working on the committee, I frankly think we have some very positive perspectives on the Republican side. A, full consolidation. B, best possible place, providing for the security setbacks. So I think in both sites, I think we're going to receive a very receptive view from our Republican colleagues, and I think Governor Hogan will certainly help in that regard.
Anybody else? All right, well, thank you very much for joining us.